So we were on problem sheet number 9, right? In sheet number 9, we completed question number 3. Now let's go to problem number 4. I hope you guys have tried out these problems. Yes or no? Have you tried out these questions? Please let me know. Please let me know. Yes or no? Please let me know. You guys have tried out these questions? Yes. These are pretty easy, right? I mean, this sheet in particular is very easy, right? You just have to equate the denominator to 0 and find the point where denominator becomes 0. Yes. So I'll just quickly discuss these questions. Okay. So we are on problem number 4 now. So we have for what value of a is the fraction 2a minus 18 divided by 6a plus 18 minus 4a is undefined. Okay. So this expression becomes undefined when the denominator becomes 0. Right. And in denominator, you just need to simplify that expression. There are like terms which needs to be combined. 6a minus 4a is going to be 2a. So in the denominator, we have, this is 6a minus 4a. These need to be combined. We have 2a plus 18. And this becomes undefined when the denominator becomes 0. So 2a plus 18 becomes 0. 2a becomes minus 18. A becomes minus 9. Minus 9 is the answer, right? Minus 9 is the answer. Cool. Yes. Shall we go to the next question? If you're stuck at some point, please do let me know, okay? I assume these are easy questions. For what values of I is the fraction, y is the fraction 3y minus 6 divided by 8 minus 8y plus 4 undefined. Again, you have an expression in the denominator. You just need to equate that expression to 0. Before that, you may want to simplify that by combining the like terms, because you have 8 and 4. So when you combine those, we have 12 minus 8y is equal to 0. So you have 12 is equal to 8y. Your y becomes 12 divided by 8, which is when you cancel a 4, this becomes 3 times 4, and this is 2 times 4, that is 3 by 2. 3 by 2 is the answer. 3 by 2 or 1.5 is the answer. 3 by 2 or 1.5 is the answer. Got it? That's fine, right? Pretty easy, pretty easy. Yes. I hope you guys have spent some time on these problems. I mean, at least these look familiar to you now. Yeah. So next question. In the next question, the non-zero value of x for which 2x plus 10 divided by 2x into x minus 5 is undefined. So again, the idea is you have to equate the expression in the denominator to 0. But there's a catch. In this question, it's not a linear expression. There are two numbers which are being multiplied in the denominator. So we have 2x into x minus 5 as the denominator. Look at the denominator. It is 2x into x minus 5. 2x into x minus 5. in the denominator. All right. So this is not a linear expression. This is what we call as a, what do we call this expression? What do we call this expression? This is not a linear expression, but this is a, can somebody tell me? Please, 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 please do respond. This is not a linear expression. This is what we call as a, this is what we call as a, somebody please, just try. There is no harm. Hello, am I audible? Please try, please try. You guys would have definitely seen these kind of expressions. These are very popular expressions. What are these kind of expressions called? Somebody. I see a new face today, Jomini, and there are two new faces, Teresa. See, we are in the middle of an ongoing discussion, so you may find this slightly difficult because you have not attended the previous lecture. But these are pretty easy stuff. So in case you're stuck at some point, please do get back to me. There's no issue. I'll be happy to help. Yes. And others, Olivia, Anjali, Peter, Robin and Prisha. Okay. You guys would have definitely seen this kind of expression. See, if we had a linear expression, it should look like a simple term, right? Ax plus b. Say x minus 5 is a linear expression. 2x plus 3 is a linear expression. 2x is a linear expression. But here, two linear expressions are being multiplied. So this is what we call a quadratic expression. This is what we call a quadratic expression. Anyway, we will discuss about quadratic expressions and quadratic equations in detail later on. Okay, so we have not dealt with quadratic expressions and quadratic equations in our discussions, but I'm sure you would have heard of this term, quadratic expression. Have you heard of this term? Please do let me know. Have you heard of this term, quadratic expressions? Quadratic equations? Yes. Yes, right. A quadratic expression is nothing but a polynomial with degree 2. Just like linear is of degree 1, a quadratic is of degree 2. Right? Because if you multiply this is going to be 2x square minus 10x. This is a quadratic. Now you understand why this is a quadratic? Because it's of degree 2. Right? Prisha and yeah. So you have seen this, right? You have seen this in school. Anyway, we'll go to detailed discussion on quadratic expressions and equation later on. For the time being, we discussing linear equations and linear expressions. Right? Okay. So, I mean, you don't have to deal with quadratic equations or anything right now. You just have to see that 2x into x minus 5 has to be set as 0. Okay. In fact, this should not be 0, right? This should not be 0. So denominator becoming 0 is our problem. So we are looking at points where denominator is becoming 0. Is this becoming 0? Is our question. Is denominator becoming 0? Is our question. Okay. Now, the idea is when your product of two numbers is equal to 0, it means that either of them is 0 or both could be 0. Okay, A equal to 0 or B equal to 0. Okay, A equal to 0 or B equal to 0. You know this idea, right? The product of two numbers is 0, then at least one of them has to be 0. Okay, at least one of them has to be 0. Product of two numbers is 0, at least one of them has to be 0. So in this case, we have either 2x is equal to 0 or x minus 5 equal to 0. Okay, so this means x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 5. Which means x is equal to 0 is going to put you in trouble because that will make the denominator 0. X is equal to 5 is also going to make you put you in trouble because that is going to make the denominator 0. So there are two values of x which will land you in trouble. Okay, so those two values are x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 5 because these values are going to make the denominator of our expression and 0, and hence our original expression will be undefined. So now if you look at this expression, if you look at our original expression, if you put x is equal to 0, this denominator is going to become 0. If you put x is equal to 5, this is going to be 0, hence the entire denominator will be 0, right? So there are two values. In this case, there are two values. Okay, for the time being, forget about quadratic equation. For the time being, forget about quadratic expression. You don't have to deal with it. For the time being, you just need to understand that if there are two expressions, two numbers in the denominator, and if you equate that to product of two numbers to 0, then at least one of them has to be 0, right? So x is equal to 0 is going to be a problem for you, and x is equal to 5 has to be will be a problem for you. But here in this question, we need a non-zero value of x, and the non-zero value of x is going to be 5, right? The non-zero value of x that will make our question undefined is x is equal to 5. Cool, right? That's cool, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. In the next question, we have a similar question here. See, the number of values of x for which the expression becomes undefined. Okay. When does this expression become undefined? This expression becomes undefined when the denominator becomes 0. So the denominator of this expression is x minus 1 into x minus 2. And this becomes undefined when this denominator becomes 0. Again, there are two numbers which are being multiplied. Okay. So product of two numbers is equal to 0 means what? At least one of them has to be 0. So this means x minus 1 is equal to 0 or x minus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 1 can cause trouble, or x is equal to 2 can cause trouble, right? Yes or no? Yes. So x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2. There are two values of x for which this expression becomes undefined. I mean, don't get confused because there is an x minus 2 in the numerator. You might be thinking that, yeah, I can easily cancel these off, but it's not possible. Okay, you can cancel these off only if x is not equal to 2. The question talks about a different thing. Okay, question is asking at which values of x this expression becomes undefined. Okay, so those points are the points where the denominator becomes 0, which are x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2. All right. Cool. So there are 2 points. The number of values of x for which the expression becomes undefined. There are two values of x. There are two values of x. Yes. Yes or no? Yes. And 8 is what we already discussed in the previous class. This is a tricky question. This is a tricky question. You might think that you can easily cancel off these terms and your answer is x is equal to 1. But there is a catch. But there is a catch. When you are trying to solve an equation, even before thinking of solving this equation, you have to note down those points where the equation becomes invalid. The equation becomes undefined. So in this case, just after seeing the question, you have to write, immediately you have to write x is not equal to 1. Why? Because x is equal to 1 is going to make this expression undefined. Okay. Now, if you recklessly cancel off these two terms, you are going to get x is equal to 1, but that is not a solution. That is not a solution because when you put x is equal to 1, it is going to give you invalid terms. Okay. So at first glance, x is equal to 1 may look like a solution, but it is not a solution. So in this case, there is no value of x. Okay, we have already seen this in the previous class. There is no value of x which will satisfy this equation. There is no value of x which will satisfy this equation. All right. This is fine. Tell me. Yes. Again, next question. The values of x which will make the equation undefined. They are not asking about solution to this equation. They are not asking about solution to this equation. They are asking about those values of x that is going to make the original equation undefined, invalid. So we just have to equate the denominators. Wherever there is a denominator, you just equate it to 0. So x minus 2 is equal to 0 is going to put you in trouble. 2x plus 6 is 0 is going to put you in trouble. So x is equal to 2. And from this case, we have 2x is equal to minus 6. And that means x is equal to minus 3. So 2 and minus 3. 2 and minus 3. 2 and minus 3 are going to be our problems. I mean, 2 and minus 3. If x is equal to 2 or x is equal to minus 3, this question will not be valid. Okay, cool. They're not asking about the solution. Okay, they're not asking about the solution to the equation. They're asking about the value of x which will make this expressions undefined. Yes. In problem number 10, we have a simple question, but instead of actual numbers, they have variables, as in parameters, a and b are given. Okay. So this expression becomes undefined when ax plus b becomes 0, ax becomes minus b, x becomes minus b divided by a. X is minus b divided by a. That is the answer. Right? So far, so good. Is there any clarification required in the sheet? Any clarification? Any clarification? Please do let me know. Or shall we move on to the next sheet? Shall we move on to the next sheet? I mean, we have already seen some questions in the sheet, and I had requested you guys to solve this sheet. I think we have seen until question number 2. Yes. So let's move on to next problem sheet. It's problem sheet number 10. Gaurav Gaurav was saying that you're not receiving any homework. Actually, I guess Gaurav, I guess you will be enrolled for the next batch. Okay, please request your dad to speak to Mr. Shaji. Okay, who is our head? Please talk to him. He'll be able to help you with that. All right. I believe you will be enrolled in the next batch. Okay, you'll be added to the group and you'll be getting updates on that group. All right, all right. So we are in problem sheet number 10. We have already seen question number 1 and 2. And can you guys tell me whether you have tried this out or not? Tell me yes or no. At least a few questions. Please, please, please do let me know. Have you guys tried out these questions? Message me privately at least. Okay. 2 persons have replied so far. Others? Others? Yes. Okay. And Prisha, could you give me a yes or no? That'd be great. Yes, cool. So you guys have tried this out. So anyway, let me quickly go through these questions. We are on problem number 3 now. We are on problem number 3 now. The solution to the equation 1 over z minus 1 plus 5 by 3 is equal to 3 over z minus 1. Now, when you look at a question, before even attempting to solve this question, what should you do? You have to immediately write that z is not equal to 1 because we just learned this, right? Before trying to solve a question, you have to actually note down those values which will make the original question invalid, because in case if you happen to get your answer as z is equal to 1, z is equal to 1, you have to reject it, because z is equal to 1 cannot be an answer. Okay, even after solving this question, if you receive z is equal to 1, you have to reject it, because that is going to make the original question invalid. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. That is what we discussed in the previous class, right? That's what we discussed in the previous class. Remember? What did I say? Before trying to solve this question, you have to actually note down those points where the question will be invalid. Okay. So this is a fundamental idea. You have to follow this everywhere, not only for just linear equations. Okay. You'll see a variety of equations. Maybe now in school for your SAT preparation, even in college, you'll be seeing a lot of equations. So you should be always mindful about the values which are going to make the original question invalid. Okay, right. Now, how do we solve this? Same logic, right? Bring all the like terms, bring all the variables to one side. So I'm going to bring this to this side, and on the LHS I have 5 over 3, that is equal to 3 divided by z minus 1 minus 1 divided by z minus 1. And lucky for you, on the RHS the denominator is common. Right? The denominator is common, so it is simply, right, 5 by 3 is equal to 2 divided by z minus 1. Okay, now this is not a linear equation, but as we saw in the previous class, this is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation. This is not a linear equation, because in a linear equation, you cannot have terms in the denominator. But just one simple step will make this into a linear equation. You just have to cross multiply, right? You just have to cross multiply. You just cross multiply. You just cross multiply, right? So in the next step, I'm going to cross multiply. So 5 times z minus 1 is going to be 3 times 2, which is 6. So I have 5z minus 5 is equal to 6. So 5z is equal to 11, and your z value is going to be 11 over 5. Got it? Tell me this is fine. Tell me this is fine. Yes. Yes. Everyone. Easy, right? These kinds of questions do come in an SAT. Again, ultimately, it's about how quick you can crack a problem and without making a mistake. Yeah, shall we go to the next question? So the next question, find the value of n for which 1 by 3 is equal to 1 by 4 plus 1 by n. So we have 1 over 3 is equal to 1 over 4 plus. Now when you look at the question, you have to immediately write what? You have to immediately write what? You have to immediately write what? See if there are terms in the denominator. If there are terms in the denominator, will they become 0? And in that case, it is going to be a problem. So you just have to note it down so that we don't forget it at the end after solving the question. Okay, in case those numbers happen to be the solution, you have to reject those. Okay, yeah. N not equal to 1. Is that the idea? Denominator is non-zero. In the denominator, we just have 3, 4, and n. These won't cause problems. These are harmless because these are fixed numbers. What is going to cause you harm? This number, right? And then n is not equal to n is not equal to n is not equal to, right? This is pretty easy, man. N is not equal to n is not equal. Why can't n be 1? If you put n is equal to 1, is it going to cause you any problem? Because of denominator being 0? No, right? Why do you get confused? Others, please do let me know what is your opinion. What is your opinion? You just have one expression which you need to bother about, right? The others are 3 and 4. You just have one expression in the denominator which you need to bother about, and that is n. And you can't have denominator. No. 1 is not a possibility. We are just talking about the denominator. Please get this right, okay? Please get this right. We are just looking at the denominator and saying that, oh, my denominator cannot be 0. That's all. Okay. Please treat this. We are just looking at the denominator and we are saying that denominator cannot be 0. The only denominator that we are concerned of is n, right? So your n cannot be 0. That's all. Right? Is this okay? What about others? Please do let me know. Please do let me know. Somebody was getting confused about n being 1. He was saying that n is not equal to 1. N can be equal to 1, okay? N is equal to 1 will not make denominator 0. n is equal to 1 will not make the denominator 0. N equal to 0 will make the denominator 0. N is equal to 0 will make the denominator 0, right? Yes. So that's the first part. Just quickly write down n is not equal to 0. Now you move on to solving the problem, for which you have to bring all the variables to one side and these numbers to the other side. And remember, this is not a linear equation. This is not a linear equation, but this is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation. This is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation. All right. So I take 1 by 4 to the other side. Now, how do you simplify this fraction? I hope you are thorough with that. Please do not pick up your calculator. How do you simplify this fraction? You have to create a common denominator. And in this case, the common denominator is 12. 3 into 4. So this becomes 1 into 4 minus 1 into 3. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Tell me. What I have basically done is, this 1 by 3 I have written as 1 into 4. Right? So I have 12 as the common denominator. This 1 by 4 I have written as 1 into 3 divided by 4 into 3. Yes. So in these two cases, for both the numbers, both the fractions, I've converted them to a common denominator. I have a common denominator here. If I have a common denominator, I'm happy. If I have a common denominator, I'm happy. Because, the denominator is common. You just need to do the operation in the numerator, right? You just need to do the operation in the numerator, right? Tell me, this is fine. Tell me this is fine. Yes. So this is going to be 4 minus 3 divided by 12. So 4 minus 3 divided by 12 is going to be 1 by 12. And your 1 by 12 was 1 by n. Now you can either cross multiply or just by inspection. Just looking at the thing, you can say that n is equal to 12. You can either cross multiply, but in this case, you don't have to cross multiply. You just look at this thing and say, this is 12. Is this okay? Cool? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Shall I move on? Move on to the next question. So the next question is, we have x plus 1 divided by 2x plus 3 equal to 3 by 8. Okay. And before moving to solving this equation, you just have to be careful about the denominator being 0. So you just write that denominator cannot be 0. So your x cannot be minus 3 by 2. You just note it down. That's all. You just note it down. That's all. This may or may not be useful later on. That's all. Okay. If your answer comes out to be minus 3 by 2, you just need to note that you cannot accept it as the answer, because that is going to make the original equation invalid. Okay. Now, is this a linear equation? Is this a linear equation? Is this a linear equation? Now, is this a linear equation? Is this a linear equation? Please do let me know. Please respond. Please respond. Say yes or no. Please respond. Is this a yes? Is this a linear equation? Give me a yes or no. Hello, hello, hello. Are you guys with me? Is this a linear equation? Anjali, think again. No, this is not a linear equation. Okay, this is not a linear equation. But the thing is, this can be converted to a linear equation in one step. The step being, you just have to cross multiply, right? You just cross multiply. 8 times x plus 1 will be 3 times 2x plus 3. That's all. Now you do the regular thing. You just expand the brackets. If there are like terms, combine them. Bring the variables to one side. Bring the numbers to the other side. Then do your math. That's all. Simple, huh? So we have 8x plus 8 is equal to 6x plus 9. 8x minus 6x is equal to 9 minus 8. So we have 2x is equal to 1. And your x is equal to 1 by 2. Yes, understood what I did? Yes. Simple, right? Okay, this is how we learn math. Okay, we are slowly building stuff. We learned about linear expressions initially. Then we learned about linear equations, the simplest kind of linear equations. Then we saw more complicated linear equations which have expressions on both sides. Then linear equations which have like terms. Then linear expressions which have brackets which need to be expanded. Okay. Then later on we saw linear equations with a variable inside, a parameter inside the linear equation. Then we saw the equations which can be converted to linear equations which can be converted to linear equations. In the next stage, we'll move on to word problems. Okay. So in SAT, it's very common to ask a lot of word problems. So the question will be posed not as a math problem, but as an English sentence. Okay. I hope you would have seen such questions in your school, right? There will be an English statement given with some numbers and some conditions given. You have to convert that English statement into a math equation and solve them. Okay. We'll see that in the next stage. Okay. And then we'll move on to inequalities. Afterwards, we'll go to linear functions and things like that. So we are slowly building stuff. Okay. So fifth problem is over. Then we have question number 6. Question number 6. 3c square divided by 6c. 3c square divided by 6c plus 9 is equal to 15. Okay. Again, this does not look like a linear equation at first glance because there are quadratic terms coming, right? There are terms in the denominator, right? Okay. So you just note down that the denominator cannot be 0. Denominator can be 0. Now, as long as denominator is non-zero, as long as denominator is non-zero, as long as c is non-zero, you can cancel off c on both numerator and denominator. Now the c can be cancelled off. You can cancel off a c on both numerator and denominator. What did I just do? C square by c has been rewritten as c. But this can be done only when c is non-zero. So I have written that condition here. Yes. Now we have 3c divided by 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. Yes. Now you cancel off 3 in both numerator and denominator. This is 1 times 3. This is 2 times 3. So we have c by 2 plus 9 is equal to 15. C by 2 plus 9 is equal to 15. So in this case, we have c by 2 is equal to 15 minus 9, which is 6. C by 2 is 6, so c has to be equal to 2 into 6, which is 12. I hope you guys would have got this answer. Hope this is fine. This is fine. Let me know. Let me know. Now, I want to suggest something in this question. When you see an expression of this kind, it's tempting to make a common denominator and solve. Say it is tempting to write this as c by 2. Then the 9 can be written as 9 by 2 by 2. Now we have c plus 18. It is tempting to write in this manner. Right? It is tempting to write in this way because, you know, there are 2 terms in the denominator. You may want to add those as fractions and represent as a fraction. Now you can cross multiply. C plus 18 is equal to 30. Now c is equal to 18 minus, sorry, 13 minus 18. Here also we'll get 12. But this is longer, right? This will take more time. This will take more time, right? Instead, you should bring 9 to the other side and simply finish it off in a step. Okay. Again, these kind of ideas will come through practice. If you practice a lot of questions, it will naturally occur to you. Okay, this will come naturally to you. The knack of problem solving comes only through practice. This is fine. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's go to the next question, which is problem number 7. Question 7. W divided by W plus 8 is equal to minus 6 over 18. What is the value of W? Okay. Again, this is a very simple question. You just have to note down those points where the denominator becomes 0. So you simply write W is not equal to minus 8 because W is equal to minus 8 is going to make your denominator 0. Hence the question will be invalid. So you just note it down. Okay. This may or may not be useful at the end. Okay. How will this be useful? If the answer, final answer, after solving this equation comes out to be minus 8, you have to neglect it. You have to reject it, that's all. Okay, simple. Now, what is the idea? You have to cross multiply, right? You have to cross multiply. Before cross multiplication, this is not a linear equation. This is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation. This is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation. This is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation, right? This is an equation which can be converted to a linear equation. Before cross multiplying, you just observe that this can be simplified further. You get me? 18 is 3 times 6. So this is 1 over 3. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now you simply cross multiply. We have 3 times W is equal to minus of W plus H. So we have 3W is equal to minus W minus H. So 3W plus W is equal to minus H. So we have 4W is equal to minus 8, and the W is minus 8 over 4, which is minus 2. Minus 2 is our answer. See, you could have cross multiplied before simplifying with the simplifying the RHS. What did I do in the first step? I simplified the RHS because by doing so, I've got simpler numbers. By doing so, I've got simpler numbers. Otherwise, I would have got a bigger number, right? Right? If I had not simplified, I would have got bigger numbers to deal with. But I would have got the same answer in the end. Of course, I would have got the same answers, same numbers, same answer in the end. See, W by W plus H is equal to minus 6 by 18. You just cross multiply. 18W is equal to minus 6W minus 48. Okay. So 24W is equal to minus 48. W is equal to minus 48 divided by 24, which is again minus 2. You would have got the same number as the answer, but you just have to deal with slightly bigger numbers. That's all. So as far as possible, when you see a simplification, do it right away. Okay? Do it right away. Got it? Let me know. Let me know. So far, so good. Tell me, tell me, tell me. So far, so good. Others, please do let me know. Yes, cool, cool. So I guess you have a better you have better confidence to crack problems now. Do you? Do you have better confidence to crack these kind of problems now? Yes. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is problem number 8. 6 over minus y minus 1 is equal to 10 divided by minus 2y minus 3. 6 over minus y minus 1 divided by 10 over minus 2y minus 3. See, this looks ugly, right? The first glance, this looks very ugly because there are too many minus signs there in the question. But if you observe, this is actually 6 divided by minus of y plus 1, right? Take the negation out, and the RHS, it is negation. If you take the negation out, it is minus of 2y plus 3. You understand this? Now, before moving on to further steps, cross multiplication or something, you can actually get rid of this negative signs on both sides, right? You have negative signs on both sides, you can get rid of them. Cool. Now this ugliness is gone. You, right? Of course, as usual, you have to write the numbers which will make the denominator 0. So y plus 1 should not be 0. So you write y is not equal to minus 1. 2y plus 3 should not be 0. So you write y is not equal to minus 3 by 2. You just note it down. Now you can move on to cross multiplication again. Before cross multiplication, if there is further simplification possible, always do it. So here 6 and 10, you can cancel off a 2. So this is going to be 3 here, going to be 5 here. Understand? Now you cross multiply. We have 3 times 2y plus 3 is equal to 5 times y plus 1. Got it? Yes or no? Yes or no? See, this equation looks very ugly. Now look at this. This looks pretty straightforward. Wouldn't you have to reduce the denominator too? How can you reduce the denominator? I mean, is there a common factor which you can? No, 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 no. Denominator, no, that doesn't work that way. See, see, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. If you have 6 divided by something is equal to 10 divided by something else, okay, you can basically cancel off 2 on both sides of the numerator. This will be 3 and this will be 5. Okay, you can cancel off terms from the numerator alone. Okay, similarly, you can cancel off, say, you have something divided by 10 here, you have something divided by 15 here. In this case, you can get rid of 5. So this is 2, this is 3. Without worrying about the numerators. Without worrying about the numerators. Okay. And now, suppose you have 18 by 6 and let it be 8. And you have something by something. Here you can cancel off common terms from the numerator and denominator. So you can get rid of 2, 9 by 4. Understood 3 cases, right? You understood all the 3 cases, right? Yes. So far, so good. Till this step, it's fine. Till this step, it's fine. Yes. Now you expand the bracket, as in you just distribute 3. So we have 6 times y plus 9 is equal to 5 times y plus 5. So you have 6y minus 5y is equal to 5 minus 9, which is minus 4. So your y comes out as minus 4. Y comes out as minus 4. And of course, Of course, it doesn't break any of these conditions. See, of course, y is equal to minus 4 does not break any of the conditions. So y equal to minus 4 is indeed a solution. Yes, okay. Is this fine? Is this fine? Tell me, is this fine? Yes, cool, cool. Now let's move on to question number 9. We'll just quickly solve this and then wind up. We have 5g over g is equal to g plus 7 divided by g minus 1. G minus 1. Again, in the first step, you just note that there are two terms in the denominator, and you just note that g cannot be 0 and g cannot be 1. Right? Yes or no? Now again, we have 5g divided by g is equal to g plus 7 divided by g minus 1. Now you can see, since we have set g as non-zero number, you can cancel of these g. Since g is not equal to 0, you can cancel of these g. Okay. Now you have 5 divided by 1 is equal to g plus 7 divided by g minus 1. Cross multiply. We have 5 times g minus 1 is equal to 1 times, I'm sorry, this, give me a minute. Yes, this is 1 times g plus 7. So we have 5g minus 5 is equal to g plus 7. Bring all the g to one side. 5g minus g is equal to 5 plus 7. So this is 4g is equal to 12. So your g has to be 12 divided by 4, which is 3. All right. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Easy? Now you may want to actually substitute your answer and verify that it is indeed right. Okay. You may want to actually put 3, g is equal to 3 here. This becomes 3 plus 7 divided by 3 minus 1. So this becomes 10 divided by 2. It becomes 5. See, it is matching. It is matching, right? This is indeed a solution. It's matching. Okay. So it is always a good idea to verify your answer by actually substituting the original question. Okay, so that you don't make any silly mistakes. Cool. Now there is one more question left that we'll solve it in the next class, and the next class we will be moving on to word problems. Okay, word problems where there'll be a description of the question given. You have to convert that description into math equations and finally solve it. Okay, so it is slightly tricky, but we'll see a lot of problems. Okay, we'll see a lot of questions of those kind, and with enough practice you will be able to crack any question. Okay, trust me, you will be able to crack any question because we are going to see a variety of problems. So far so good. Again, I just want to remind you that we are in the easiest part of the SAT preparation, the heart of algebra, which deals about simple linear equations, linear functions, and things like that. Okay, so I'm hoping that you are pretty well on the track. Okay, we are running a marathon. We are not running a 100-meter race or something like that. We have a long way to go. So consistency is the key. You have to keep practicing a lot of questions. Okay, you have the problem sheets with you. You keep trying them as and when you find time. Okay, pick up the books. You have try solving so many questions. All right then. See you.